if I would have kept thinking the way I used to think, probably would have still been in the same position I was before. Because I was just programmed for poverty. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I was programmed to not make a lot of money. I was programmed to live off the government. I was programmed to live off Section 8, off food stamps. I was programmed for these things. I was programmed for, cause like, not like that's how I grew up. So I was programmed for that. So anything outside of that was like, no, I can't do that. It's too risky. So when I started making some money, like it didn't feel real. Even when I made my first like 7K in a month, like me making more than 5K 1 month was the most money anyone's ever made in my family.
How old were you at that point?
I was 19.
How much was that?
This was, I think it was like 8,000 something.
Jeez.
This is perfect. We have 2 cameras too.
This is big time. We're not in the little leagues anymore. This is the big leagues.
And now you got the notepad and everything too. It's so cool how you can hear it. Like you can hear your audio.
It sounds good, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It does.
When Reed and I, the very first podcast I did, I had like a phone camera. I had my phone for audio because we didn't have any microphones or anything like that. So
we're upgraded. Let's go. Let's do it.
Andres, Quiroz, thank you very much for being here, man.
No problem, man. Thank you for having me.
You called me at the beginning of the month and you asked me, I mean, we've been wanting to do this podcast for a while now, but you said, what's one thing that stands out? Like, what's one takeaway from the year? And I kind of hesitated a little bit. And I thought to myself, man, I'm kind of embarrassed that I don't have one thing to tell you. And I feel like that represents who you are as a person. Like, you get after it, you do big things. And it made me realize, like, even though I've had a busy year, I've had a lot going on, and I'm grateful for a lot of things that have gone on, like, was I busy or was I productive? So
big difference, huh?
There is. So
yeah.
I'm excited to have you on, man. Thanks for being here. We've been talking about this for probably like 9 months.
Yeah,
maybe a year.
We have, yeah. I think since you had Reed on, that wasn't the first time where, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So,
guys, I don't know if you guys, like, this feels so cool to be able to like speak and like have this stuff.
It's legit.
Yeah, it's legit. It's so nice. It's cool. How much would the setup cost like this?
For just the microphones?
Yeah. Like this, we're recording everything.
I would say maybe $700. That's my guess.
Oh, really?
All of this.
Okay, I thought it would be more.
But don't quote me on that. But it's pretty legit. I'm gonna have to update my personal studio, have something like this.
Let's do this, man.
So, I want to know kind of the beginnings of where you started, because did I hear that you started at Starbucks and McDonald's? Did you work at both of those places?
Yeah. So I was going to school to become. I was going to the U of A. We're here at U of A right now. I was going to the U of A to become a doctor, and then COVID hit. And what were you doing during COVID?
I was serving a mission for my church.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Were you kind of exploring what you wanted to do with stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time, I was pretty busy. So for a couple years, I was out on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So teaching about, like, Jesus Christ. We did a lot of community service and
yeah.
stuff like that. But definitely during that time, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I wanted to be a doctor, too.
Did you really?
Just because.
The money.
Yeah. I looked at being a doctor as, like, prestigious. I looked at the money, and I didn't have any entrepreneurs in my family. I don't have any entrepreneurs in my family. I didn't know many people that were doing big things. So to me, I'm like, if I want to be wealthy, if I want to live a good life, it's either that, be an engineer, be a lawyer. Like, that's all I knew. So I wanted to be a doctor.
And it's crazy because, like, when I first, we'll go back. I was going to the U of A to become a doctor, and I was going to become a trauma surgeon. So I had a full ride, everything paid for. I had the dormers paid for. Yeah,
really?
Everything paid for. Everything was paid for. I didn't have to come out of pocket nothing.
So you were a good student in high school? Yeah,
I had a good student in high school. I actually love school. To this day, I love learning still. So everything, even I got money back too when you were going to college. You know, when you go to college, you get money back if you get like a scholarship. Mm-hmm. So I was getting money back because I had that many scholarships available. But during COVID, it hit, and once COVID hit, I was looking at like personal training programs, how to start my own training program for like coaching. I was like in stocks. I lost a lot of money in the forex exchange market, something like that. I remember I paid for like $1,000 course and put in like another $500. Yeah, it was really risky, but
which is what, like similar to drop shipping or something like that?
I don't know. I was just trying everything and anything to do it. And then the whole reason why I got into real estate was I started watching this show called Flipping Vegas with Scott and Amy, about Vegas, obviously. And they just showed like their whole lifestyle, what they would do, how they would pick up properties, how they renovate them, how much money they would make. And I was like, I think I want to do that. And then I got my license. And then since the very beginning, I was like, I want to flip houses. I want to flip houses.
Well, why did you decide to do that? Or if you even back up, I mean, did you come from money? Did you come from...
No. So, funny story. I was actually walking a property with my contractors. And my mom, sometimes she works for me. So she cleans into my houses. Helps me a lot with my houses. And one of the GCs was like, Andres, did your mom give you all this money to buy the houses? I'm like, no. Like, my mom... Like, I take care of my mom. My mom doesn't take care of me. But it's funny you say that. But no, my family's from Mexico. Grew up, like, with Section 8, food stamps, all that stuff. So when I started making some money, like, it didn't feel real. Even when I made my first, like, 7K in a month, like, me making more than 5K 1 month was the most money anyone's ever made in my family.
How old were you at that point?
I was 19. What
were you doing?
So I started selling real estate. So I got my license. Once I got my license, I was working both at Starbucks. No, I was working at the McDonald's. Let me backtrack real quick. Sorry. So I was going to school to become a licensed realtor. I was working at Starbucks and Amazon during those times, and then I dropped the Amazon one, and then I started working at McDonald's, and then I stopped working at McDonald's because Starbucks was more lenient with my schedule because I can go and eat earlier and then get out later. And then, so I just stick to Starbucks. And then Starbucks was working from like, I would go in at 5:30, and then I would prep it, and then I would get out around 12, and then 12 to like 7 was my real estate time. So I was doing that. And it took me I got my license in April, and it took me about a month to get my first deal. And I still have a picture of the check. The check was like $1,000, man. It was like the most money I've ever felt I had in my life. I cashed it in. I was like, this is it. I'm good. Because keep in mind, I was making like probably $100 a week at Starbucks. So that $1,000 check was like everything. I didn't save money for taxes though, so I just blew it all.
Well, was there part of you growing up where you figured out that, I mean, you need to make money? Like, was there some part of your backstory where you thought, this is important, like I want to be a doctor, I need to get into, real estate or anything like that?
What's so crazy, Alex, is as I was driving on the way here, I was like, if I would have kept thinking the way I used to think, I probably would have still been in the same position I was before. Because I was just programmed for poverty. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I was programmed to not make a lot of money. I was programmed to live off the government. I was programmed to live off Section 8, off food stamps. I was programmed for these things. I was programmed for, because that's how I grew up. So I was programmed for that. So anything outside of that was like, no, I can't do that. It's too risky. So I don't know what flipped, man. Getting into real estate just flipped the switch, and I don't know how to explain it, bro.
Well, how'd you find the confidence and why did you believe in yourself, and how'd you get into real estate?
So when I was studying to get my license as a realtor, I started reading a lot of books, and I'm pretty sure you can go off this, but once you get into personal development, it becomes addictive. Like, improving becomes very addictive. And you start reading a lot of books, you start seeing your progress, you start seeing how your mind changes, it starts becoming addictive. And then that's what helped break a lot of habits. So I remember when I first started, when I was taking my courses, I would I have a picture, you can put it up. It says dream big, work 40 hours a week minimum, priorities this, and this. How big can you dream if you know you couldn't fail? Like, so my mind was just going and racing and racing. I was like, I have videos of me saying I want to be the #1 realtor one day. I have all these videos saying this stuff. I have videos of me looking at the camera saying I'm going to pass my test this month. So it was like all this stuff I kept saying. And it's just, I had to unwire my mind to like a new programming, because the program I had was just adopted through my family. But I mean, it's not my problem, so I have to solve it on my own. So I had to change my whole mindset. And then, I don't know where we're going about this. What was I going?
Well, I was asking how you got into it and like the confidence.
Yeah, so that was the personal development. And then the biggest thing I think that changed everything was so I stopped working at Starbucks, and I worked at Starbucks, and this guy named Scott Melody, Scott, if you're watching this, he came into the Starbucks, and at this time, you ever hear the saying, it's like fake it till you make it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, I was doing that hard. I was selling hard. And
at Starbucks?
Oh, so much. Like, Yeah, it was very hard. So this guy came in, Scott Maldy, and he had a "We Buy Ugly Houses" shirt, and he had that shirt. And I was like, "Oh, you buy ugly houses?" I was like, "I flip houses too." Like,
You hadn't flipped a house
not
yet?
at all. I think I've sold one house that whole year, and I was like, "Yeah, I flip houses." Oh, what do you do? I'm like, "I do this, this, and this," and then I was like, he's like, "You should send me deals." So I got his card, and then I called him. And he's like, "You just come into my office, see what we do, blah, blah, blah." I went into his office, and then that was just God sent, bro. Because when I went into his office, the biggest flipper in town was at that office. And what do I want to do? I want to flip houses. I want to be the best in flipping houses. So the number one flipper I met with that day, I didn't even know. And he's like, "How do you analyze your deals?" And I told him this random thing. I don't even know what I was saying. I was just getting everything off YouTube. And then I told him I do this, this, and this. And then he's like, "That's wrong." I'm like, and keep in mind, I had like nobody to this point corrected me or checked me. So I was just this egotistical like maniac that thought I could do everything. So when he checked me, I was like, "What? Who's this guy think he's talking to?" And then, but in my mind, I was like, he's right. And then he said something that was crazy. He said, if you're not in an environment where they're not pushing you or doing deals at the volume that you want to do one day, I would like just turn in your license, like tell them like you quit right away. And then he left, and I went back home. And I just cried out of so much frustration. I was like, why isn't this working? Like, this is so frustrating. And I sent him a handwritten letter. I called people that knew him. I was like, "Hey, can you put in a good word for me for him?" And they're like, yeah. And then he called me back. Come in this Friday at 9:00. I came in that Friday, and then he's like, "What do you want to do?" I was like, "I want to be the number one realty investor in Arizona." He's like, "Do you really want to do it?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You know what it takes?" I'm like, "No, I don't know what it takes." He's like, "Well, it's a lot of hard work." And then he basically told me if I wanted to work for him, I had to quit Starbucks and have to go in full time working with him. And I think during that time, I probably had like $90 saved up. So I was working. So it's like I had some tips coming in from Starbucks. You get tips as a barista. And then I had my paycheck coming in. I was like, screw it, I got to do it. And then, so that is like what forced me to have to go. So a lot of the times, I think the way God has operated through my life is sometimes God through God's own strength, he forces me out of things because sometimes I don't have the strength to do it on my own. So he literally forces me to do things. In this instance, he forced me to get out of Starbucks because if I wouldn't have had him, like God in my life, I think I probably would have still been at Starbucks and struggling as a realtor. So it was God will push you out of certain seasons to go into new seasons. And that uncomfort that you have, like starting a new season, starting something new, I mean, that puts your back against the wall and when you have to perform or else you quit. And I didn't want to be a quitter. So.
I love that. I think there has to be a part of being delusional enough to believe in yourself. And I think something that you said that I believe is interesting is you said that you wanted to be the best realtor at that time. So you were like 19.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
23.
23?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So in that short period, you've gone from that to, I know we can talk about this in a little bit too, but you told me you have the goal of doing $1 million a year, right? Annual. So there's a lot that happened in between that.
Yeah.
And like continuing on, I guess, how do you explain what you do now to people that might not be as familiar?
Yeah. So 19. So I joined his team at 19, and like a week later I turned 20. So I say 20 because I joined literally when a week later I turned 20. It's easier to keep track. And now I buy houses in Tucson. I buy them run down that are completely distressed, mobile homes, townhouses, houses, condos, and then I put money into them and I flip them. And that's my main business now. And I've really niched down on just that. When people ask me what I do, I don't say I'm a realtor. I say I'm a real estate investor. I buy this, and this, because it's so important in this economy for you to niche down and focus on one thing, because you don't want to be spread thin, or else you'll be nowhere.
Did you figure that out as you were? I mean, did you sell a house for a client? That was your first deal where you made $1,000, and then did you figure out? I mean, maybe that didn't align with your goals.
No, so this is the whole story. So I joined this team, and during this time, I mean, rates were low, so we were cranking out deals. And I just saw like how much volume he was doing in flips, and like that's what's so important about being around certain people is because they break beliefs with you not even knowing. Like I didn't know it was possible to do that many flips a year. I thought it was one flip a year was possible. So, but I was in an environment where we were doing 30 flips a month. It's like that's at a new standard. So now like I operate off that standard. Like no, I can't settle at X amount. I gotta do this amount because that's like if I could see him do it, and he's human like me, I'm pretty sure I can do it as well. So that standard broke that belief. We were doing so much volume, bro. So much volume where, like that environment helped me out so much. Like whenever I would go with the client and help them sell a house, like I was being a realtor, I was literally borrowing stories from these deals, saying, "Oh yeah, I did this for this client," but it was them doing it. But I borrowed that story to help convey that conviction to this client, so it was helping me out. And then every now and then I would go walk these flips, walk them and walk, and I was just like, "If I could do this one day." So it was being on his team helped me narrow it down because there's luxury real estate, there's flips, there's like Airbnb, there's rentals, there's like creative financing. There's so many ways you can go about in real estate, and people you can make millions out of each one. But I decided I want to niche down on just flips, and I've stayed with that, and I will stay with that until God places something else in my heart.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be honest, too. Meeting you, it was probably a year ago, I think, at a networking event here in Tucson. And just knowing you and a few of our mutual friends, that was like the first time I'd seen someone our age doing something more than like going to school, getting good grades, getting a good job. And that helped me see like there is so much more out there if you put your mind to it. And I've had small thinking a lot of the times, like put a cap on what you can do. And
that's why it's so important though to be around like people who dream big, because you just start operating at a different level, and people could feel it too. People could feel like if you're thinking small.
Yeah.
But if you're around big hitters, people who produce at a high level, it just forces you like to have to produce. I don't know. It's like there's negative peer pressure, like if you're around people who do drugs, like just bad things. But then, on the contrary, there's also positive peer pressure. People who are hustling, who are getting it done, who are doing deals, who are getting after, like that will positively influence you to do something else as well.
What is that? I mean, what's your relationship now with mentorship? Like, do you have the same mentor? Have you reached out? Have you found kind of your people?
So now, I went off on my own February of this year, and then right now I do a weekly mentorship with a good friend of mine, Derek Polders, for watching this. Mm-hmm. Being around that guy has shifted my whole mindset around money. He's just so financial. He just knows money so well, and I just look at money so differently now. Being around him, the way he explains certain things about money, because remember the first time I was like, Derek, I was like, I'm afraid of hiring my first assistant, and then he's like, he understands because he's been through my shoes too. Because Derek's gone from the bottom of the bottom and he's worked his way up, and he said, even if you do mess up, even if you have to fire somebody, which I won't, even if you have to fire somebody, even if you let them go, worst case scenario, you gain the knowledge of being a leader and what to do, what not to do. And you can't read it off the book. You have to just go through it. Even so, he taught me how to leverage capital. Like there's certain things he just taught me how to do. He's the biggest one of them because I see him every single Monday. And then I've also joined a program. It's called the Core Training. So every 2 weeks we have a coaching call with other people across the U.S. So I get to see what other people are doing in the U.S. like for their business. And in order for people to coach me, like in the core, they have to net $1 million a year. So I'm learning from people who are producing at a very high level.
So you're on level 3. Is that what that is?
No, I'm
on
level.
How does it work? There's levels too.
So I'm in level 2. So I joined level 2 back in May, and then my 1-year semester will end in this coming May, and then I hope to join level 3 in May.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So
we can get into numbers and things like that. Yeah. But how has your relationship with money changed from, I mean, when you didn't have too much, maybe you had, you said $90
something, yeah.
To
it's the same,
now,
I remember, yeah.
To being able to afford the assistant, you have a lot of deals. I think you said you do about 3 flips a month on average when we talked last time probably, but how has your relationship with money changed now? I mean, do you look at it different? Does it feel different or?
It's more, I just see how I can leverage it. now I just look at ways so I can find more real estate to put the money into it. It's just, I want to get rid of it into good things now. Like I don't want to hold it no more. But like when you have no money, all you want to do is just like keep it nested. But when you learn about money, all you want to do is get rid of it and multiply your money.
Well, did you ever want to drive the Lambo or anything like that? Like,
I
is
still
that what
want
got
the
you
Lambo.
going?
No, well,
yeah, but
yeah. I mean, I got the watch now. I got the Cartier watch now. But so I got this watch. Once I told myself, once you hit 500K, you can get the watch. So.
Really, you set that for yourself?
Yeah, I got the watch. Yeah. So,
in net, or once you do that in your business? Really?
This year, yeah. So once I did that, I got the watch.
How much was that?
This was, I think it was like 8,000 something.
Jeez, I've never spent that on a watch. Well,
I didn't think I could either.
Is that what got you going though? Like, did you see?
Like what drives you?
Yeah. Like, did you see that from the beginning? Did you see, okay, if I get into real estate, then you can have a nice lifestyle?
Yeah. So, getting into real estate I mean, dude, I love nice things. I want a nice house. I think out of everything though, just because my background, where I come from, not having money, like being in high school, I remember vividly one day when I was in high school. So my mom wasn't with us since 8th grade up until like senior year. So I was in and out of houses. And I remember the feeling of going to school and not having a new pair of shoes, or like not having like a new jacket, having to wear the same things over and over again, like having like the same black sweater, having like the same shoes, where I had a pair of black Vans where I had to go to Walmart, I had to get like the black dye to dye it in, so it was like all old. I remember that feeling, and I was like, I just don't want to feel like that anymore. And the biggest thing that drove me was like that feeling that way it just sucks. And respect too. I remember like feeling like it's so inferior to people just because I didn't have much. And I told myself, like, once I start making money, I will never treat people the way I felt like I was treated when I was making less money, essentially. So now even where I make it prominent, where I make it known, where if I see someone like who's like a janitor, like I don't treat nobody different more if you're richer or if you're poor. Like you're all God's children. So I treat you like a people, like a person, like you are. So.
I love that. Do you think that like that still drives you now? Do you think it's changed? Or I mean, because I think you're at the point now where all of like your life has changed. So how do you now have the discipline to keep going, or what are you shooting for now?
So my name of my team is called Legacy Real Estate Group. So I'm shooting for legacy now because like I've realized how. Don't get me wrong. I still want like the Lambos. I still want the stuff, but like, so I don't know. I just get moved by like I just watched the movie The Founder. I just watched the movie about the Ferrari guy.
I just watched that.
Yeah.
Did you post that online?
No.
I don't know if it was Jacob Farling. Shout out to him. I think.
Dude, my boy Jacob. Yeah.
That's why I watched it too. That was a good movie.
Dude, I get moved by all these people left a legacy behind. And they're like, we can't live far more than 100 years old, but your name can. Like, what can you build that like exceeds, like, well, if my children's children, they'll say, who started all this? Like Uncle Dre, like Andres Quiroz, like he started this whole thing. Like, and having something like that, that's why I'm so big into wanting to buy apartments, because like that apartment says like Andres Quiroz, like that he bought that. That can stay on and on and on forever and ever. That could feed the whole lineage of my family. Like, the legacy now is what drives me more than anything else. Yeah. In the beginning, it was the cars, it was the women, it was like the watches, it was the money. But the closer I got to God, the more I realized how fleeting that is, and it's just so vain.
I think that's huge, and not that there is anything wrong with those things. Like if you have it, and if if your heart's in the right place, like there's nothing wrong with that. But I like how you mentioned too, like
let me say one last thing too, real quick, and I hope people can understand this. The moment I started giving and tithing is the moment my business blew up. It's so crazy. Because before I was so remember, when you come from nothing, you want to hold everything, right? And you think it's smarter for you to hold everything because that's what feels safe. But you don't realize how like God's so faithful and God will always provide. And all God wants is to like, he wants to see where your heart's at. And if I can give him 10%, he has everything. Everything is his and everything is mine. But all he asks for is 10% in return. If I can just give him that, the Bible says he'll multiply. He'll have like a blessing so big you won't be able to hold on to it. So the moment I started tithing and I started being more charitable and more giving with my family in the church, is the moment my business blew up. It's
really?
Insane. It's like
really?
It's something you can't put like a number on it. It's just you just know when you know. And there's been blessings financially, but then there's been blessings spiritually that I can't put a number on. Like mindset wise, I used to always feel like on the weekends that like on Sundays I had to work. I have to work. Where now Sundays I just feel more relaxed now. Like he's removed that out of my life. So there's a lot of things that came from like letting go of something like money and giving it to God, and now he's multiplied it itself too. So I hope people can understand that.
Yeah, and that's something that I just had to kind of overcome. I go through phases of recently, I mean, I believe in paying tithing too, and I do that to the church that I go to. And I was putting it off. I thought, I want to put more into savings. I want to deal with it. And then I feel like I'm not as charitable and like I'm keeping it. And that's not a good relationship to have. So within this week, I went back and paid the 10% of what I had. And it's just like keeping you in check and making sure that you
crazy
can give.
Though? It's you feel like the spirit in you saying you do it. And I've had that. I just started doing it this year. So like the past 3 plus years I was in real estate, I wasn't giving anything. Like I was here and there, but like I wasn't doing anything at all. And God still blessed me, but like God's I'm telling you, bro, I don't know, I can't put a money behind it, but the moment I started tithing is the moment that God helped me with my business. And it's so crazy because now you're like, when I make $1 million, I'm gonna give at least $100,000 away. But people think about like, oh, they're giving away $100,000, but they don't realize they're getting to keep my $100,000 of it. That's insane. Yeah, it's insane.
Well, has your relationship with God changed? Because I see that in you, like you're serious about it. It's not just something that you say. Because when we talked on the phone, you also mentioned how you've been praying a lot of like what to do for this year and how to move your business. So have you always had that relationship with God, and how do you integrate that with business?
No, so I didn't believe in God because I didn't believe that, like, if God loved us so much, why was there so much suffering? Like, why was I suffering so much? Why was I so poor? Why was my mom struggling? Why was certain things happening to me? Kind of like the victim mindset. So that, therefore, I didn't think there was a loving God who would allow that. And then when COVID hit, I had just so much time, and I started reading the Bible. I started going to church, and then I started seeing that like God loves us, bro. He loves us so much. And it's crazy because sometimes I just sit down and put worship music on. I'm like God, like, he loves us so much. And until you really understand that and really feel that, like he loves us, bro. My girlfriend too. She told me one time, she's like, we're the king of all kings' daughters and sons. Like, why don't we own that? Like, he's our dad. He's our father. The king of all kings. Nothing's more powerful than him. We're his children. That's insane. But what sparked that was COVID. As I started reading the Bible more, I started seeing, like is Christ really real? Is he really who he says he was? And then I started reading the facts. And there's so much evidence too for the resurrection and like all that stuff, which helped me believe more. But then there's only so much evidence you could read where then you just have to have faith. And then that's where, but that same faith I have in God is the same faith I have in my business, because there's not a guarantee that I can have a deal next month, the month after that too. It's not a guarantee if I buy this flip tomorrow that it won't just go straight down. So that same faith that I have towards God is the same faith that I apply towards my business and stuff. But he's helped me so much.
Well, that's interesting that as soon as it sounds like as your faith took off, your business did too, and you took off as an individual. Maybe you had more confidence in yourself, and you knew that you had the faith, you know, in spirit, like spiritually and just in business. So, I guess getting back to business, like, what does it look like now? What kind of goals did you have for the year, if you don't mind sharing?
Yes. So last year, I think I have a picture of it. Last year, I had a goal of doing 15 flips, which I did.
15?
Which I did. My goal was to make over 500, which I did. Where's the?
And that's just on the margins that from the house.
No, so this is so I do both flips and I do both traditional real estate. So like if someone wants to buy a house or sell a house, the same thing. I do that as well. But majority of my money, I think I've made more than $350 in just flips this month. No, not this month. I'm sorry, this year.
I was gonna say, oh my gosh.
No, this year. And then the rest
Really?
have been traditional real estate. Yeah, and that's all to me.
So 350. So that's the spread, I guess, on each deal.
No,
And then-
350. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure if you wanted to, for vanity, talk about the amount of millions for each house that was sold and everything like that. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. So the biggest deal I've made the biggest money I made on a flip, I believe, was 74.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? I got that. No, that was last year. The biggest one this year was 64. But let me talk about the first deal.
Yeah.
The way I got my first deal. So the way first ever real estate. The way I got my first ever real estate deal was I started cold calling probates, people who died, and people. So when people die, they leave a house behind, most likely, if they have a house, and sometimes the kids or the spouses need to sell it, and they either need to sell it or they want to keep it. And if they want to sell it, it's either in great condition or in horrible condition. In this instance, this son had a house he needed to sell, and I called him June, the second week of June, and by the 27th of June, I closed on it, and in September I sold it and made the 70 plus grand.
After all the rehab and everything like that.
But I want to talk about this. So by this time I had already saved like 70 plus K in savings. No, I had more. No, it was around that. Yeah, around that. So that means I raised the money for the purchase price, but I had to fund the 40K of my own money with my own money. So I had to pump about 40K to renovations. I had no construction background. I only knew how to sell deals. I didn't know how to calculate rehab costs. I didn't know how to do how to go pick out how to hire labor, how to do all this stuff. But what I did know is that I would figure it out somehow. So sometimes you just gotta jump in the water, man, and just do it. But I knew I had a good spread on it. I bought it for 110, I believe. Yeah, I bought it for 110. Put 39K into it and sold it for 225. Yeah.
That's crazy.
25, yeah.
So from that, obviously now you have all the systems.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a well-oiled machine so you can just get these deals
That's the
going.
funny thing because of that flip, I just learned so. I remember I overpaid for dumpsters, bro. I overpaid for material. I overpaid for labor. The backyard, I didn't even finish it. So God has so much grace for me, man. I was able to walk out of it very profitable, and once I got that deal, 2 months later I bought 3 more.
So your first deal, 70 grand?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane.
That worked out. Yeah.
It did. My head's itchy. Ugh.
So what does the process look like now? If someone's not that familiar, what kind of systems do you have in place so that you can just take houses and fix them, flip them up, and then get them on the market as fast as possible?
So the first thing when you're trying to flip houses is you want to find out how you want to finance them. Do I want to buy them off my own money? Do I want to raise capital? Do I want to do hard money, private money? The way. Oh my God!
The refresher,
the refresher, bro. I'm telling you, it's kicking in. Do you like it?
Yeah,
it's bomb, isn't it?
Thank you. He bought me this refresher.
But the caffeine's kicking in, though. I'm telling you. But the way, so you want to figure out if you want to go private, hard, or your own cash. And the mentor I worked with, he did all his money private. And I decided to do the same thing too, because it's kind of why would I go hard? Why would I go my own money if the person who's doing way more flips than I am is doing it private? I was I'm just gonna learn from what he's doing. He did it that way. So now I've raised my money private, which means that I don't fund my own deals personally. I raise capital to people who are already established, who have money in the bank, and who want to just lend it against real estate. Because people who are lending money for real estate, it's pretty safe because if I can't sell the property for whatever reason, I can't, for whatever reason, I foreclose on it, they have a property that has so much equity that they can just sell on the market. But the way I went about finding my private moneylender was going to church. I met this guy, and then this guy introduced me to another guy, and that guy, put me in a group, and I met that guy. So like multiple times, but it all started because I went to church, and one of the pastors there just kind of put my name around, and I just started going in and out to church. And he's been financing all my flips, and he funds fully everything. So the purchase price and the rehab, and that's how I'm able to scale. Because if I were to, I can't do like 10 flips at once because I don't have $1 million yet, but he does. So why not just leverage his capital, his experience, and put it into, let's say, real estate. And once I get that, I go through through these properties. Can they sell fast? Like, I'm not gonna buy a house that's in the flood zone. I won't buy a mobile home that's not fixed. I won't buy a mobile home that's on leased land. I won't buy a condo that doesn't accept FHA or VA loans. I won't buy houses that are way far out, far out. I learned that lesson. I won't go out all the way to Picture Rocks. That's too far out. I have a certain buy box. And then the biggest thing is I don't buy anything above 300K in this time. If the market were to change, it'd become much more lucrative, I would change. But during this time, rates are a little bit high right now. And there's a lot more inventory in the marketplace here in Tucson. So I'm very picky about what I'm buying because I don't want to lose money.
Yeah. So I think I know we were talking, I don't think we've mentioned it here, but when you have a reality TV show of doing the fix and flips, I mean, I think what's interesting to people is like the steps of how you get a house that's run down and then putting it on the market. Oh, yeah. It looks all good. And I know you've posted a lot on social media too of picking out things like tile and redoing the kitchens and whatnot. So is there a consistent process to it? You have the steps, and have you made like an SOP or something like that?
So I have a system now. So the same system that my old mentor uses is the same one I follow. He was doing 30 deals a month. I'm not gonna change it. If he could do that much in volume, why would I change it? So once I buy it, so the biggest thing, so if anybody's listening, the biggest thing when buying real estate deals is doing the inspections before you buy it. I'm checking the roof, the plumbing, the septic, the water heater, the electrical, the AC. I'm checking to see how much my insurance will be. I'm checking to see days on market. You have to do all. So the real work starts before you buy the deal, because actually I have a deal I just locked up under contract this past Saturday for $97K. I opened up escrow today, deposited the money. So now all this stuff I'm telling you I'm doing now. So when I close on it by the end of this month, I'll be on the go on it. So by the time I close on it, I already have the contractor in place. I already know what material I'm using, what color, what I'm listing it for, my timeline, so I'm ready to go.
Wow. Yeah.
So, and the biggest thing people do is they just take their sweet time. I'm cranking them out though. I'm going fast. Because if I can have 3 of them, they're just cranking out each 20, 30K a month. Each, I'm cranking out 60, 80K a month. And if the market shoots up higher, I'm making way more money too. So inflation for me, it benefits me if I'm a flipper.
So at any given time, you probably have a few houses that are getting worked on, and
right now I have 1. I'll have 2 with this one, and then hopefully I'll have 3 by the end of this month. I'm just waiting on another one that I'm trying to close on, but the seller is being really difficult.
So do you have any nightmares on not checking the roof, not checking the HVAC?
Let me tell you about this one. So there's this one deal, bro, I bought. It was out in Vail. I bought it for 115, we'll say. And I thought I could sell it for 330K. So you see the spread on it, right? It's almost 200 grand. This has to work out, right? And I was being lazy. So the thing I learned too is when you have money coming in so fast, you just become lazy. And I became lazy there. I didn't check the roof the right way. I didn't check the septic the right way. I didn't do a proper walkthrough the right way. And I was just being lazy, and in return, I got burnt. The original budget I had was $75,000. And can you guess what I ended up at?
So bought it for 115, you had 75.
Guess what my rehab budget was after everything?
I'm thinking the way you're saying this, like 120.
110.
110?
Dude, yeah. 110, bro. It was
That's a lot
bad.
to put in a house.
So what happened was, as we started doing the work, I started seeing there's something wrong with the plumbing. The septic had to be completely replaced. The roof was shot. With mobile homes too, you have to get it leveled out. I didn't get it leveled out. So it was like this. I had to get it leveled out. The ductwork was just shot. I needed to get a new HVAC. There's a bunch of termites. The property, since I didn't level it out or I didn't treat it the right way, when I kept doing the remodels, bro, there was like bugs coming out. It was insane. The plumbing, I did it cheap, so the first time it broke and it just pooped. Like, it was just a mess, bro. It was
terrible.
And then I hired the wrong contractor because I was trying to be cheap, and that blew up too. Like, everything that you think could go wrong went wrong. So when I thought I was gonna make over 100K, I literally posted a video on my story. I was like, "This is my first 100K flip I'm gonna do." I was excited, bro, and that's again God. Like, God helped me out with that one. But even when I sold it, I still made like 50 grand. Wow. But not compared to the 100 plus grand I was gonna make.
Good thing you learned on that one and didn't have to lose too much to learn that lesson.
For sure.
So at this point, what is something, or what are the things that stress you out? Because we were talking on the phone about entrepreneurship, about what you're doing. Yeah. And you said, bro, sometimes I just think about it like, is this worth it?
So last month was probably the most stressful month of my whole career, just because and I try not to make it, I try not to make excuses, but like, historically it is slower in November, December for real estate. But I just don't want to buy into that mindset that I have to be slower just because everyone else is slower. But, dude, I don't know why this is itchy. This is itchy. What is happening? Probably think I have lice or something.
Nah.
Is there something?
Little itch break?
Where was I at? Oh, yeah, I was stressed. And I think if people were to really understand how stressful. So I talked to you about this, bro. As I said, people really have to understand is, do I want to be an entrepreneur or do I want to be an entrepreneur? As an entrepreneur, you know that I take all the risk. If I need to make payroll, I need to pay my people who are giving me money back, my vendors, material, all that. I take all the risk, but in return, I get all the reward, right? But as an entrepreneur, the difference between is the entrepreneur is just as invested as the entrepreneur. The only thing is the entrepreneur doesn't take all the risk in the financial aspect of it because it's not their money. But you still reap some sort of the benefits, not as much as the entrepreneur because you're alongside of it. But that company is like your company as well. So if people were to really understand, okay, like what do I really want? Do I really want to take the risk of doing this? Because at the end of the day, it is a risk. Like, there's no guarantee you will do it, and that's cool itself too. Like the what ifs, it's really cool. But I think if people want to start their own business, they really need to understand, like, am I really up for it? Because you can run a small business and make 100 grand a year or less. But I mean, do you really want to start a business just to make that? Like, I think if it's worth doing, it's worth doing well. If it's worth doing well, it's making millions of dollars a year. Because if you make that much money a year, it's only a reflection of how valuable you are to the marketplace. So if you could just crank out that much volume, like in income wise, it's just show how big of an impact you've made to the community. Which in returns, like, you see the people who make the most money in Tucson are the people who make the most impact. But the stress that comes with it, man, there's a lot of doubt. That's why I think it's being grounded in some sort of faith. I always refer back to God. It's so helpful because, like, I borrow his strength. Like, I pray a lot. It's good too that if you, before becoming an entrepreneur, if you have healthy habits of dealing with stress, like the gym or praying or running, it's healthier because when you're under stress during entrepreneurship, and if you already smoke a lot of weed, and if you already indulge in a lot of alcohol or like porn or something like that, you're going to revert back to those habits when stress comes. So before, people need to think about that as well. And people also need to think about how much work it really takes. Like, people don't understand how much work it really, really takes to run a business, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it looks good, and everyone sees on social media the highlights of what, you know, being an entrepreneur is, and I think some people make it look a lot more exciting and, like, more glorious than it really is. But I guess, to you, has it been worth it, or are there times where you think,
Dude,
is it even worth it?
last month I was like, it's not worth it. Like, it's like, dude, these thoughts come. It's like, is it really worth it? And last month there were small times where I'm like, Andres, just don't quit. You can quit tomorrow, just don't quit today. Like, so delaying, like the same way you delay certain things, like procrastinating, I procrastinated quitting towards the next day. But it was just like a mindset trick to trick myself into it. But yeah, there are certain days where I'm like, is this really gonna work out? Because I had a lot of properties that are just bleeding money, so I just cough it. I had to cough it up. When there's more money going out and coming in, that could become very, very stressful. So during that time, I was reminding myself, like, it is gonna be worth it. Every entrepreneur that I admire, like the Ed Milet's, the Alex Hormozzi's, the Patrick Bet-Davids, every entrepreneur that I admire and that I aspire to run a business like, they've all have eaten shit. Like, they've all have gone through some, like, horrific things. And I think of Alex Hormozzi. I think there's that one point, bro, like, where, like, 2 years straight, when he was running gym launch and turning around gyms, he was bleeding out a bunch of money because his contracts kept. So what happened with Alex is he would go sell at a gym, like, in state of Hawaii, but he didn't have any way of fulfilling the product on the back end once they were signed up. So what these gym owners were doing is they were saying, okay, if you just cancel with Alex, I'll refund you the money. Like, refund Alex back the money. You can just sign up with me.
Yeah.
So they were canceling with Alex, and Alex had to, like, give him back all the money when he already paid the commissions, when he already did all this stuff, and at multiple gyms. So I only imagine his scenario at that large of a scale versus me. I'm like, okay, if Alex can do it, I can do it too.
I love that. That's one of my favorite things from Ed Milet too, is just, like, one more day. I think he was talking about his dad trying to quit alcohol too.
Yeah.
Is that how it was? Or maybe Ed Milet was talking to his dad.
He's like, no, he said, Dad, how are you going to be sober for the rest of your life? He said, I don't know, son, but I know I'm going to do it for one more day. So the power of one more. Have you read that book?
Yeah. No, not the book. I need to read the book.
I'll give you the book. I have the book. It was a great book.
I need to read it. That's something that I'll just turn on, and if I'm at the gym or if it's like a hard day or whatever, I'll turn that on. It's like, there's a lot of truth to that. Just not looking at, like, the top of the mountain if you're at the bottom, but looking at one step, the next step, taking it one day at a time.
Yeah. Even Ed Milet, so the way Ed Milet, like, speaks sometimes, he says, like, you're going to be the person who, like, breaks, like, the curse in your family. That's pretty inspiring too, all that stuff. But
I'm the one. Yeah, he says that.
Yeah. I remember when I, like, sometimes too, just to get me ramped up, I play certain songs, like I'm the Man by what's his name?
I think I was just like, is that a 50 Cent?
Yeah. No, it is.
I was playing that today at the gym.
I'm the Man, or I play a lot of Lil Baby.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I just need to get in the zone, man. Get in the zone.
What are you looking towards for this upcoming year? Like, after you have hard days, is it like the hope of what's going to be coming? Is it like you have a lot more to accomplish? Like, what's going to keep you going? And then leading into that, like, what are your big goals for the year, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, so wait, ask the question one more time so I can understand it the right way.
I forgot what I even said in the beginning, but, like, so after you have hard days, what's the thing that will keep you going? Why do you want to keep climbing, and why do you want to keep climbing the mountain, I guess? Like, what are you looking forward to? What's the biggest goal now that you have for yourself?
So the biggest goal, I'll just say next year, is running a real estate flipping company, powered through social media, which is why the reason why we're doing this is because I want to run a real estate company powered through social media. And I have an advantage over my competitors in Tucson in a sense where I really do flip houses. I'm young, so people who are usually doing this are more like 40, and I have all the time to get after it. And that's the biggest thing, to, like, building the brand that's powered through social media. And one of the biggest things I'm excited about is every person on my team is really invested in the vision that I'm invested in. Like, my assistant, Alyssa's invested in it. Reed is invested in it. Asma's invested in it. And the cool thing about it is, I think a great leader gives you a vision, but then as an employee or as someone working for them, your vision fits within their vision as well. So, for example, Esme, she works with me. She's a real estate agent. She doesn't care for flipping houses, but she wants to sell real estate. And I was like, what's your vision? And I won't share with her like what hers fully is, like to the detail, but she can be a real estate, like just like she can be like the biggest real estate agent icon for Tucson for the Hispanic community. And she can do that. And that's her niche. Like that's going to be, she's already doing it. That's her niche. She's a great real estate agent for the Hispanic community. And she's not going broad, she's going deep. So now it's like my company, powered through social media, focusing on flips. That's my vision, which feeds a bunch of people underneath too, which will feed the contractors, the vendors, more leads for the agents on the team. And then all of these that trickle down will feed all the agents on my team. And then those agents can build their brand around too. But everything's gonna be powered through social media. And everybody, the goal is I'm not trying to hire fast for sales team, because I'm being very meticulous as to who I hire on my sales team, because I want to know if they really have a vision or if they want to just like do this for 1 year. So, but the vision next year is a flipping company powered through social media. And I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I need to hit 100 transactions next year, like in 1 year.
Really?
In 1 year. I don't know how that will happen, but
what did you do this year? How many?
I'll do 43 this year.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So more than double that. I believe in you, man.
That's no social media though.
Yeah.
And that I didn't get an admin till July. No. August. I didn't get an admin till August. So the first 8 months were just on my own. So now that I have double the manpower,
yep,
I'm pretty sure I can do double the deals.
I believe that too. And I think for anybody, there's a big opportunity right now with people that are older in business. And I think it's been said too, the greatest transfer of wealth is about to happen too with, you know, if you're hungry enough to go out and do it, whether it's home service, whether it's flipping houses or whatever, because I think someone can look at you and not be as intimidated. They're like, okay, I'll trust you. If your face is on the brand, then, you know. That's why
I'm trying to build this brand is the end goal I was sharing with you all, like off when we were recording, is I truly feel like when I build a brand big enough, is if I call HGTV show and be like, hey, I want to start my own flipping company reality TV show, I can do that. Because there's like Selling Sunset, there's Sirhan, like all this stuff, but that's for like luxury real estate. I don't think there's ever been a real estate flipping show that's a reality TV show for flipping houses, which is what I want to build. Which is why I'm building the brand. I need credibility and I need followers to be able to showcase like, hey, I have the followers to do this. Like, boom.
Yeah. How will you know? Like, do you feel like you've made it? No. Or how will you know? Like, is there going to be a point where you feel like, yeah, I made it? Is there something that you have in mind? Or
no, I don't have a number in mind, nor do I want to put a number on it. I truly enjoy working, and I want to see what kind of man I'll be once I hit $1 million a month. I mean, a year. What kind of man I'll be once I hit $5 million a month. What kind of man I'll be once I hit $10 million a month. Like a year, sorry. But like, what if it's $10 million a month though? Like what if? Like, look,
man, there's a lot of time between now to whatever 40s isn't even that old either. But you think that's like 17 years away, 20 years away. What you can be doing then?
I don't know, man. It's exciting though. When the brand is being built, so here's the brand's being built, right? I'm already investing the money. I'm doing the time, like what we're doing right now. Plus, also, I'm honing in so much on sales, which this is a great segue into this podcast. It's sales. I hired someone for marketing. They're teaching me how to build a brand. And I hired a sales coach to help me with sales. It's like, how much do you really believe in yourself and how much do you really believe in your vision? I believe so much in my vision is that I'm willing to put the money in hiring coaching for sales. I think this year alone I spent $26,000 in coaching for sales. And that coaching will expire next year in December, but it's for 2 years. No,
Wow.
for a year and a half. Yeah. But the guy named Jeremy Miner, it's just the way sales is like now. I really feel like I have a real sales process. I know where I'm taking each lead, where to put them in. Like it's very helpful, bro. Like sales is everything. So if I can get the marketing piece down, and then get the sales down, like it'll blow up. And if when I become a good enough leader to be able to teach those skills, the marketing and sales, like, dude,
unstoppable.
It's like, yeah, bro, it is. It really is. It really is. Dude, my hair, I can't. I don't know what's up with it, bro.
All the itch breaks.
It is.
No, it's okay.
Bro, I don't know what's up with do I have something on my hair?
I don't see anything.
Is it? Sales, yeah. I think one of the biggest skills an entrepreneur can have is sales. Everything you do is influence. Like when you're a very single guy and you want to go ahead on a girl, like you gotta have some riz.
Everything is sales.
Some riz.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, I guess that is sales. Which I've always thought like, oh, I don't really like sales. I tried doing door knocking a little bit, and then I was like, I don't want to be a sales guy, right?
I don't think you'll like sales because you're not selling the right. You're not really selling. You're really helping. I've learned that a great salesman doesn't solve problems, but a great salesman helps you uncover problems that you didn't know you had. Because then they can provide the right solution. It's like if you were to go to the doctors and you just told them, this is what I have, and they give you a prescription. But if they don't know the real root behind the problem, they can't truly help you. Versus the way I've learned how to do sales now is whenever I get a lead, is I walk them through like a certain sales process and I truly uncover what the real pain is, not what the perceived pain, because the perceived pain is different than the real pain. But by asking the right questions, you uncover what the real pain is, and then your solution is able to help them the right way. And you're never selling because like the questions you ask themselves, like in a sense, like, hey, do you feel like this could help you, Alex? You'll say,
get him to say yes.
Yeah. In what way though?
In a scenario.
Yeah. Tell me in what way.
Of what, sales?
No, just like, do you feel like like me helping you like scale your landscaping company could help you? Role play it.
Yeah, or whatever it might be, because I know I've talked to you about that.
You say in what way though?
How you'd help me?
Yeah, and how would my program or my services help you? Like, how would that help you? You'll say,
first off, having the frame of reference. I mean, you as sort of maybe a mentor in the space of, like, you can get me from point A to point B. Then I say, okay, I want to work with you.
What would that do for you personally, though?
Have a feeling. Maybe it's earn the money that I.
How would that change your life and what you're doing right now?
Giving the freedom, having more options.
What would the freedom look like for you?
It would look like waking up on a slow morning, not having to report in somewhere, and doing things on your own terms, on your own time.
What stress would that relieve off you?
Say it one more time.
What stress would that relieve off you? Like having like the right business.
A lot of it, yeah.
In what way though?
Knowing that you're doing things on your own terms, that's what I would desire. I want to know that I can make things happen. I'm not capped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So knowing like the program, the service that I provide, you said they could help you in this way you just mentioned. What do you feel would be the right way for us to move forward today? How like now you're just
sold, man.
Like now it's like before I'd be like, sign here. Like, do you want to move forward? Right. But now I ask questions in a certain way that makes you sell yourself on it. But it's not salesy. It's like you asking questions the right way to help them really uncover what they're really going through.
Yeah,
it's happened so many times. There's the one I just locked up Saturday. We were there, and she's in the beginning. She says, "I'm just tired of my house," and I was like, "Okay, like let's elaborate on that. What's wrong with the house?" And she said, "Oh, it's just old." But what I've uncovered is she really values having family around. And she feels like when she has family around in her current house, it's too cramped up. She doesn't enjoy it. Nobody wants to come over no more because her house is too small. So what's she doing? She's upgrading her house to get a bigger house, so that way her family can come. I'm helping she said at first it was this, and then when I asked questions, it was really this. So then I offered a solution and a service and helped her out. And in return, that was valuable, so I got paid in return. So like that's sales. So if you're able to become a great communicator and able to ask the right questions, then that'll help you build your business. So if I can just get like 1% better every single day of sales, plus the marketing, it's just gonna explode.
No, I believe it. I think my mindset has changed too because I know now that sales is everything, and being able to convey your message and listen to other people, understand what they want, and how you can help each other out. So, moving forward then in your business, like, what are you exactly shooting for? So you don't strike me as someone that wants to be like sitting on a beach, probably.
No,
you know what I mean?
never.
In 5 years.
Never. No, I don't ever plan on doing that. I like working, man. Working is fun. I think men were designed to work. I don't think men were designed just to. Like, I just think about. Did you watch Gladiator 2?
Yeah, so good.
What'd you think of it?
Gladiator 1. I watched Gladiator 1 the week before, and that became my personality for at least a week. I was listening
just cranking it out. Yeah.
I was listening to the soundtrack and everything. My wife was probably like, "What are you doing?" Like listening to all this music. Yeah. I loved it. I thought it like struck me because.
How did it feel? Like, how did you feel watching the movie? Though?
I wanted to run through a wall.
But like, what was the main message you got off watching the movie?
From Gladiator 1, the biggest thing that I saw was, it's just this dude that would not give up. And no matter what happened to him, he'd keep fighting. And then ultimately, got to, at the end of the movie, which, I don't know if you guys have not seen it, you have to see it. But
spoiler, it's fine.
Yeah, to me, it was just like, this dude just would not give up. And it would just like struck a chord with me of like, no matter what happens to you, like no matter what cards are dealt in life, like you just have to keep going. You just show up, you be honest, you be, a good person, and like things will happen. It pumped me up.
Dude, I have a great story about so I have a buddy, you know Drew, right?
Mm-hmm.
Drew. Okay, so Drew works
at a podcast. I think he was like the second podcast I've ever done.
So Drew works at Chase now, right?
Yes, in the foothills.
Yeah. So this is the story. So Drew came to me with kind of deciding what he wanted to do with his business. And I'll give you the same thing. I'll tell him. Have you watched Batman? I don't know which one it was, but when they're in the cave and Bruce is in there and he's trying to make the climb out of the cave.
I think so. The Dark Knight Rises, or is that the right one?
Yeah. If you watch this, like look up on YouTube, look up Batman cave, Bruce Wayne trying to get out. I'll tell you why. So what I'm trying to get to is what that means to me is they're holding onto a rope. So remember, Bruce tries to get out there. He tries to make the climb, but what does he always have in his back of his hand? He has a rope. So whenever he climbs, he has a rope that if he misses it, he's alive because he has a rope attached. But on the contrary, another guy escaped the cave, but he had no rope, so he had to make a climb big enough, a jump big enough, because if he didn't jump hard enough, he was gonna die. So he tried making the climb again with the rope again, and he fails. And the prisoner who's blind says, "Make the climb." And Bruce is like, "I do want to make the climb." And the death guy is like, "Why do you want to make the climb?" Bruce says, "Because I'm scared of my city rotting in death while I'm out there." The blind guy says, "We'll make the climb, and this time without the rope. Then death will meet you." Because the biggest mover in a man or in a woman is the fear of death. Like if you know you're gonna die, you're really gonna jump, right? So now Bruce makes the climb, this time without the rope, and he really has to jump because he knows if he doesn't jump hard enough, what's gonna happen? He falls and dies. So he makes the climb. They were trying to give him the rope. Bruce's like, "No, I don't want the rope." He lets go of it. He makes the climb without the rope. He gets it, and he's able to get out the cave. What that tells me is sometimes people hold on to this rope of like trying to get out of this cave because they feel like it's safe for them. For sometimes what you have to do is let go of the rope and make the climb and stop like letting these things holding the past. For my instance was I went so long for flipping a house because I was holding on to this money. I was like, I can't lose this. I can't lose this. I didn't realize that was holding me back. And once I let go of the rope, once I signed on the dotted lines, and once I closed on the house, it was a perceived fear, bro. It was never there. and it left. And knowing that it left, I went on a rampage of buying houses. So now, like, I look at these things like hiring somebody for social media. It's like there's no real true metric to see if it's going to pay off or not right away. But for so long, I've been holding on to that rope of hiring someone for social media. I didn't know if that was what's holding me back. So I let go of the rope. I hired someone for it. And I know in a year from now, it'll pay off. And now I'll have a new rope to climb, like let go of. So there's like a constant progress of letting go of the rope. But if someone watching, like, what is the rope that you're holding on to that you're scared to make the climb without the rope? Like, because if you make the climb with that rope, you have to put in the work. I know now that I have to put in the work to make payroll for my assistant and marketing and other stuff too. So it's like, that's the only way you truly grow, bro, is if you let go of the rope. And if you really put your back against the wall. I've done that time and time and time again. Like when I left Starbucks, when I wanted to buy my first flip, when I had to go off on my own, it was so scary to get my first office, bro. Like my first own office. Like, what if I can't make the office? Like, all this stuff that keeps popping up. I let go of the rope. And I'm constantly letting go of the rope of these perceived notions, perceived beliefs. And once you let go of them, bro, like, what can that be for you? What's like perceived rope that you have?
Well, we've talked about this. So, I mean, I'm in school right now. That was my decision. I want to finish it. Sometimes I have the crazy idea of like, I don't know. Regardless, I'm finishing that out. But for
what do you really want to do though?
So for me, it's like I look at having the W-2, which I do, having the job.
That's not bad though.
It's not. But sometimes it's like the known fear of looking 30 years down the road. And it's like, okay, I see that. It doesn't take much to see exactly where that would lead you. And in some cases, you can become the CEO. In some cases, you can maybe run the company, like we were saying, being an entrepreneur working inside the company. But I think there's a lot of those in my life of, like, everything's pretty good, and it's not bad enough, so you don't make the change. You don't make a huge change. Kind of like I was reading a book that's like how the AC works in this room. It's like you have a level of like, I'm comfortable. Nothing, it's not bad enough, so I'm not going to change. So I have that in my own life of some of these things that I've tried to write down. It's like no plan B, like you're saying. But maybe personally.
It's you. Like, that's my rope right now. I let go of the rope of now I'm hiring a social media. And, bro, it's so uncomfortable. Like, today, his name's Phil. He's like, Andres, post a video in your story saying, go like my most recent post. Bro, I've never done that in my life.
Yeah, it's scary, isn't it?
Yeah, I was like,
people don't realize how scary it is.
Dude, I posted it. I'm like, I just deleted my Instagram. I was like, I don't want to look at it at all. But like, I'm so committed to building the brand that, like, I don't like to curse. Like, fuck the emotion, fuck the feeling you have. You gotta just do it. So it's like, you really gotta think like, what's your rope? Like, narrow down on that. My rope was Starbucks. Then it was buying the flip. Then it was the office. Then it was hiring my first admin. Then it was hiring social media. Like, now that I'm getting past this, like, cool, now what's gonna be my next rope? I feel like my next rope would be, I don't know yet. But I got past this one right here. But I'm progressing, and as I'm progressing, I'm making more and more and more money. So you think about it yourself. What's your rope? Like, you still haven't put a thing on it.
Yeah.
Does that concept make sense though?
It does. And I know that there's truth to it, and like I'll make content talking about this.
But just give me a rope though. Give me one rope. Is it quitting your job?
It could be. Maybe I want to be careful with what I say because it's hard when like you're grateful for things, and that's when it's kind of like I listen to you. You're like, I prayed to God, and God, helped me see this or that in business, and that's what I try to see for myself. Of like, okay, I can be grateful, but then also want to make a massive change, and know like if I actually have the goals that I say I do, and if I actually think that. Like what I was kind of saying, like I can see down the road where I'd be in 20 years if I don't do anything. Like because it's super comfortable, dude.
What's more risky though, not doing nothing or?
Yeah, doing something like starting your own business or doing the side hustle like we've talked about. I mean that it seems risky. Sometimes I even get in my own trap of like I'm scared because it seems like you're really trying to climb the mountain and it's like you just kind of freak yourself out without actually knowing that.
I think it's the way you view risk though, because like it's kind of like when there's in sales, there's this thing called reframing. Like it's like right now you're looking at risk. You're looking at risk through your current lens.
Right.
You have to shift it out and put a new lens. So a lot of the times in my past, in my experience, I've realized that sometimes I'm afraid to let go or I'm afraid to fail because I'm afraid of what people are going to think. And I boiled it, and plus two, and if you boil it down, it's not what you're afraid of, like what people are going to think. It's what you're afraid of, like what like 3 to 4 main people will think. If you boil it down to it, it's not really like, and that gave me so much power though. It's like I wasn't scared about what like thousands of people will think, because like I'm not that important, but like it's really what 4 people think we're going to think.
Alex Hormozi has said that too.
You know what's crazy though? But like, so now that I know, it's really like 3 main people that held that so much power. I wrote their names down.
Really?
X, like X. I'm like, am I gonna let that person stop me? Let that person stop me. That person stop me. And I just looked at the paper. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, it's like they don't even think about me at all. Like, why am I gonna give them so much power at all? Like, I can't. So that's when like do that. Like if that is you, or if that's somebody in who's watching, it's like write the 4 people or the 5 people who you think about when you're scared of failing. Write their names down, and then think about, will you really let them take that much power away from you by not taking this? It's like they really don't care, because they're struggling with their own things, but sometimes we think they do care.
That's social media too. It took so long for me to post things because I had this dream of myself, like trying to make a personal brand or trying to do things, but we have so much fear, and like for some reason I'm like,
people
if I have
watch
a friend,
your stuff, bro. You have like thousands of views on your videos.
Yeah, it's not crazy,
but like that's good though.
Yeah.
But imagine if you were to have a room full of 1,000 people. Wouldn't that be crazy?
Which is a mind game, because I'm like, man, I only get 700 people to see this, but I'm like, I can't imagine a room of 700 people. Or
yeah, what would that look like?
Yeah.
No, it's like it's all the way you frame things, and that's what like helped me with sales. So I'll give you an example. There was I was buying a house from this person, and I was asking questions, and she's like, stop. I feel like this is a sales conversation. I'm like, sales conversation? She's like, yeah. I'm like, how do you mean? I'll say Alex, and she's like, I feel like you're just asking me a lot of questions to try to buy my house for the cheapest possible. I'm like, I can see where you're coming from, Alex. Like I was like, that's reasonable. Can I offer you a new perspective as to why I'm like asking you questions? She's like, yeah. So before I just gave her a perspective, I asked for permission and said, yeah. I was like, what if you were to look at this conversation from a different point of view, where I'm trying to help you out? Would you be open to doing that? She's like, yeah. I'm like, when's the last time you went to the doctor's office? She said she was going through something with her. She's like, 3 weeks ago. I'm like, and like prior to the doctor like keep prescribing you something, what did he or she do? She's like, well, they asked me this, and this. I was like, what was so important about them asking you so many questions? She's like, because like they wanted to see what was really happening. I was like, and what would happen if like the doctor came in, not asked you any questions, and then just gave you a pill and say, here, take this? Like, what would that be called? She's like, I don't know. I was like, can I tell you? Like, yeah, malpractice. She's like, okay. I'm like, could you see now, Alex, how I'm not trying to ask these conversations just to be salesy, but I'm trying to really help you out, understand what's really going on in your situation, to see if I can really help. Because if I don't understand what's going on, what if I give you the wrong like solution? What would happen then? She's like, I see that. I was like, what would happen if you were to take that pill without the doctor giving you the right, like without the doctor giving you any questions? She's like, that'd be bad. Like, so are you open to seeing this conversation as not a sales, but like me trying to help you out, trying to see if what solution can really help you the most? Are you open to that? She's like, yeah. Okay, cool. So I reframed their whole. So you see like the whole thing. So it's like the way that's called reframing. It's like you have to reframe their current way of thinking. So she thought like this conversation was so salesy, and I had to get her that lens out and put the new lens of the conversation, and that's how now she sees the world when we're having a conversation. So for your point of view, is when you see a way something a certain way, like let's say quitting your 9 to 5, try reframing it, looking from a new lens, and see if that helps you move your scenario.
Yeah, and I like that. Or whatever it is, Because I know a lot of people will talk about goals that they have, and I'm one of them too. Of like, this is where I want to see myself in 5 years or 10 years. But then you have to reverse engineer that and look back and think like, am I actually taking the steps to getting there? And what do I need to change to actually get there?
But that's you should try that frame, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It's reframing is so powerful. Even when someone gives me, so I'll give you, I didn't have this objection, but on the sales call, it helped me with the reframe. So if I butcher it, hopefully you have some mercy. Is this person says, and sales is so related to like your world, so that's why I'm so sales focused. It says, oh, it's too expensive. And you were just telling me that. I say, what do you mean by too expensive? And you'd say, oh, I've never invested in that much money before. I was like, okay. I was like, price aside, would you do this? So now you're taking the focus on the price and the results. Like, yeah, I would do this. Why would you do it? Because X, X, and X. And how would that help you? This way. What would that do for you personally? Boom. So once you get the old frame and start seeing what the result you want, then you go on the contrary, which is what the salesman did. He said, what if you were to look at this from a perspective as like, the reason why you're not where you're at is because you never invested this money before, and that's why we're on this sales call. What if I were to tell you it's not too expensive? What if I were to tell you it's more risky for you to keep doing the same thing you're doing, not invest the money, and be the same place you are 3 years ago, 3 years from now? Like, what's more risky? Like losing your business or investing this money in this program that can help you like X amount your business? So that's like a reframe. So like look at your problems too, like that way, like reframing it. Like could I not afford a social media guy? I can. What if I were looking from a perspective of like, what if I could afford it if I just do this amount, and then that'll give me more leads, and I can do boom, boom, boom. Like, so it's just like kind of reframing like your problems in a different way would help you a lot.
I like that a lot. There's a lot of fear. So and it can be.
Let's look at.
An inch or a mile wide, but an inch deep? Is that the saying of sometimes just stepping in?
So what's fear? Like what is fear is I think can be like a perceived notion of what we think will happen when it hasn't happened yet. And how do you know if it will not happen? You just do it.
Say that one more time.
How do you know if it will or will not happen? You just do it.
I think so. I've been trying to take that mentality. Bro. Yeah. Whether it was posting or whatever it was, because dude, a year ago I started doing little podcasts or whatever and not knowing like where it would take me. And even if I'm not going viral, even if I'm not making money off of Instagram or whatever, which I'm not, like I've gotten over the real fear of like, what if Sally thinks this, or like what if this guy laughs at me or whatever.
But you gone past that point, so like right. you've proven to yourself that you're capable of posting and getting over that fear. It's the same like action you took where you take towards something else you want to. Mm-hmm. I think you're just on the verge of doing something you want to do, bro. I can feel it, bro. And once you take that leap, bro, you will. So here's something else too. At first, it feels so scary, and sometimes you're gonna be like, "Wow, was this like the right choice?" But then once you put a calendar in place, this is what I have to do, and you do it. There's like a lot of freedom that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Like doing this, doing the posting on YouTube. There's so much freedom that I'm doing it because I know I'm supposed to be doing it. And even though I haven't seen any results from it yet, I know it's going to work. And that's why I'm so confident in it. It's like, I know I'm supposed to be doing this. I know I am. Yeah. And I will, dude, I'm so confident that like I will have the best team in Tucson for sure. Like I'll be so sales focused with the marketing behind it. No one's going to be doing sales. I'm doing sales. I'm going to get so good at sales. So when I teach that skill set, I'm creating like mini sales goblins, just selling like crazy.
I believe it too. I think because you have that goal of, you will or you want to be the best in Tucson. Like that is very specific, and that's something that you can shoot for, instead of saying like I want to be healthy in 2025 or I want to be rich. It's like, what does that even mean?
So even too, it's like another thing is, so Patrick David says these things is outwork, out-strategize, out-improve, and outlast. The fourth one is the biggest one. Is you could have a 5-year killer streak, but like, what if I have 5 bad years, but I'm on like a 30-year run. 10th year hits, you already slow down 5th year. Like I'm gonna keep going. Like people don't realize like how there's this guy I admire a lot. His name's Humberto Lopez, and I haven't gotten a chance to meet him yet, which I will one day. He's one of the biggest developers in Tucson. He owns HSL properties. Most of the apartments in Tucson are his. Thousands of apartments, and bro, he started with flipping houses, bro. This guy started with flipping houses. He started doing what I'm doing right now, flipping houses, and now he has an empire of over like 40,000 apartments, bro. But he started with flipping houses. Isn't that insane?
Tell me that quote by him, because you were talking to me briefly about it over the phone. You said he told you one thing that, whether it changed your perspective or motivated you, I don't know if you remember what I'm talking about.
No.
I think it was call the shots, take the risk, go for it, or something simple like that. Something simple like that. Maybe you would just whatever. I think he'd said that, but you told me that. I'm like, I have chills, man. Like that's
call the shots. Oh, call the shots, take the risk, and own it.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that means to me is like, I'll give you an example with social media, just because it's so new. It's like I call the shots, I take the risk, now I'm owning it, now I'm doing it, and like, there's gonna be doubts probably tomorrow or Wednesday. Like, should I be doing this? I gotta own it, bro. Like, I'm already doing it, I gotta just do it. Like that's like calling the shots, that's taking the risk, and that's owning it. And if you're a man, like, oh, there's this great book, bro. Write it down. It's called The Kingdom Man.
The Kingdom Man.
Yeah. I'm gonna go off on a rant here. Gotta get ready for this. First, I gotta itch though.
The Kingdom Man.
The Kingdom Man. Every man out there, whether you believe in God, you don't believe in God, get the book. It's about. So, before I started getting closer to God, I used to think like God is against like me having money, me being great. Like you see, like sometimes Christians convey this like, oh, you're to this, you're to that, you can't have that. That's you're idolizing something else besides God. Is this gave me the chills when I read it. It's God is not opposed greatness. God is not against greatness. He is against arrogance and pride. God wants you to be great as a man, Alex, because if you are great as a man, you'll bring glory to him. And the more bigger you become, and the more great you are, the more glory you'll give him, the more glory he'll have. So everything we do is to bring glory back to God. So I'm like, oh, cool. Like, Lord, if you're not against greatness, you're just against like someone being arrogant and prideful. Like, let me build what I'm building with you by my side, and Lord, I'm going to give you so much glory in the way, and hopefully that glory will bring other people closer to you, because that's what God has put us meant to do. Like God has like, He put Adam, like he gave him dominion, like authority to name every animal, like in the world. God gave him that responsibility, that authority, and he wasn't against Adam being great. So the way I see it is like, take the shots, like take the risk, like, and own it. Because in the book it talks about sometimes where if you feel like I can't do it, you forget that it's not your strength, it's God's strength. And if you just use His strength, He'll do it for you. He'll help you with it. It's like almost like the footprints in the sand. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I love
it's
that.
Like where like God, why did you leave me? And then in the end, God's like, I never left you. And then you see back where God had carried you the whole time. It's like, just use His strength. And God will never put something in front of you that you can't overcome, if it's to bring glory to Him. If it's out of your own desires, like if I wanted to go build like a strip club or something, like that's not God's heart.
Well, my perspective has changed too, because I used to think that, like, if you had a Ferrari, if you had a Lambo, like, that's not what God would want for you. I used to think that's pretty selfish, but then my perspective changed, and I was talking to Caleb about this not that long ago. I mean, yeah, like 2 days ago.
That's my boy, Caleb.
Yeah, where he said, you know what, like, if I have X amount of money in the bank, and if I had, if I could give my church $200,000, he said that would change the dynamic of the whole church. And he said, that's, I want Christians to know that because you can make a huge difference. And so my perspective changed because I don't think money is selfish anymore. I think it's selfish if you limit yourself.
It's a tool.
Yeah, and if you're not allowing yourself to grow so that you can then help other people, whether that's monetarily, whether you can donate money, tithing. Like if you don't have that, that's not a resource that God can use through you, is how I've seen it.
But when you're becoming a great man of God, and when you're I aspire to be so much like David in the Bible. Have you read the Bible?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Samuel was a man after God's own heart. Like he loved God, he pursued God. He messed up a lot, but like at the end, like at the core, he loved God a lot, and God blessed him. And the more bigger David got, the more glory God got. So it's like to all you men that are listening out there, like, or women, like, if the more, like, God is not against you becoming great. And God is not against you building a big business, becoming this like big brand on social media. As long as you bring glory to Him, like, He will help you out so much. And that's why I have so much confidence in what I'm building. Even with the people that are at my office, like, they know, like, I'm God focused. Like I prayed, like I pray sometimes. So I go, hey, we're gonna do this. Let's pray. Like I make it known that like this is gonna be God's business, and they believe it. And you brought up Caleb, and that is my brother. We always talk about it. We went to the core last month. It's like this real estate event in November, and if there's one person in the real estate world where I know their heart is truly pure and is going the right way, it's him. Like him and
Shout
I,
out to Caleb, yeah.
dude. Caleb and I, bro. Him and I are gonna build such a great business. Like he's gonna build such an amazing lending Salazar Group business. Like Caleb's gonna crush it. He's gonna have a great family, great business. He'll bring glory to God. I'm gonna have a great family, great business, glory to God. And like imagine like the two top-notch killers in the industry, just being faith-centered. You don't see that as much. So imagine what the impact that will do to churches and like communities in Tucson. It's gonna change it. Like that's God wants, because the more people that get to know God, at the end of the day, that's most important to Him. God, like all the souls being saved, going to hell.
We need that too.
Yeah.
That's where, I mean, I believe in you. I believe in Caleb because you guys know exactly what you want. And
but we know what we want because we know what we don't want to.
It's true.
I know what I don't want. I know I don't want a big Airbnb business. I know I don't want to do luxury. I know I don't want to do sale leads. I know I don't want to work with buyers and all the time. I know I don't want to do like new construction. We know what we don't want. That's why it's so helpful to know what you don't want to help you know what you do want. It's so helpful. That's why all my content too is gonna be just like focused on flips and sales. You'll see it too. You'll know when you go on my Instagram or social media. You'll say, "Oh, this guy flips houses in Tucson." Nothing else.
That's huge.
Yeah, it is. It is huge. It is huge.
If you were a stock, I'd be buying you, man. I'd be putting money into you.
I think Ed Milet told Andy Elliott that, remember?
Yeah, and while we were talking about that too, I was thinking of Andy Frisella because I think what was the number he made, like $58,000 in like, it was like
the first 10 years, bro.
First 10 years.
10 years.
And this guy's driving around Bugattis.
Dude, have you seen his car collection?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Millions and millions of dollars of cars, and he says the first 10 years in business. I don't even think he started at like 18. So, which is crazy to think too. I don't know when he
started in his late 20s, like 29, around there.
Yeah, everything that he's built up to this point, and then I look at that and I'm like, oh yeah, but he had the vision too. And after 10 years, 58 grand, like you can't really live off of that. He was saying I was painting the stripes on parking lots to, get money and make some cash.
Bro, but now he's have you seen his garage?
I think if the one with all the cars in it where he does podcasts, yeah, it's insane.
Bro, he has Bugattis, Rolls Royces, Ferraris, every car you can think of he has. So that's another thing too. I was like, when I drive around sometimes, I see there's a specific neighborhood. What is it called? In Tucson, it's right off of Broadway and Alvernon. Right, you know where the Alcama is at?
Yes.
Behind it, north of Alvernon. No, sorry, not north. West of Alvernon.
I'd have to Google it. I'd see if I'd recognize it. But
bro, all these houses are on an acre. and they're all like 5,000, 7,000 square feet.
Jeez.
With a pool. Like, these are mega houses. And like, I just aspire to have that one day. So much, so bad. Where sometimes, like, even like when I have appointments, before I go back, like I drive through the neighborhoods and I just see the houses.
Visualizing it.
Dude, it's so powerful. Visualization is so powerful. Like, I envisioned, it sounds silly, but even like the watch, bro. I would bump some songs on like Cardi or like I'm not lying.
Again, yeah.
No, I would envision it, bro. I would even like put my first house, the checks. Like I would envision all this stuff. Like you could truly feel it. Like you could truly feel it when you visualize the right way. Sometimes like I'm just driving sometimes and I'm just like I'm driving like a Ferrari. Like it sounds funny, bro, but like it's so real. Crazy. Even Jacob, you know Jacob, right?
Farling or which one?
Yeah, Jacob Farling. Like when we talk, like he so believes he's gonna have a Lambo one day. And you believe because he believes so much. Like, you believe in so much because he believes so much in it. It's the same thing. It's like when you, and it's so powerful because when, like the moment that you start changing and take your risk, you don't realize what effect it'll have on people around you. So much around you. Like people, I remember my sister, I put a vision board on my house, and then like a month later, she started putting a vision board. Now she has vision boards of what she wants to do. And my sister does too. My cousin now tells me he wants to be a lawyer. Like the fact that you dream and you have such like a impact like in society and your own family because of the risks you take and the improvement you make in yourself, like that's powerful, bro.
That's why I like being friends with you. That's why I like being friends with some of the people that we know, because that changed my point of reference from what someone can actually accomplish versus the person when you're like, hey, how's it going? They're like, oh, living the dream. Yeah. Living the dream, just another day in paradise, and they don't really mean it. So it's refreshing to be around someone like you or some of the people we know, and you have to change your group because that's, the people that you might compare yourself to. And
we can talk about that too. It's so in high school, when I was a senior, I focused so much on trying to blend in. It was insane because I'm not having money, being skinny, all this stuff. Actually, back what sparked everything is like getting fit. Really? Dude, like getting muscle helped me out so much, gave me so much confidence. But the fact that I was able to, so before I used to weigh 123 pounds, and then now I'm at 175. But the fact that I was able to build the physique I wanted to build, and I could see it in the mirror, and I was like, I literally would pull up a picture of Conor McGregor. I was like, I want to have this body. Yeah. I would pull it up and I would show everybody. So I was doing this, but now that I got a large scale, but I would show my family, my friends, like, hey, I want this body. And the fact that I was able to do it, and I could see it, is like, if I can build the physique I wanted, I couldn't physically see it yet, I could just see it visually. What makes me think I can't do the same thing with my business? Like, I've already proven that with my physique. Like, I'm proving it to a small scale with my business, not fully yet. The lifestyle too, I'm proving it just because I can see it in my head. And then once you can see it in your head and you can feel it and you can visualize it, bro, like it's so powerful. But that all comes with like hanging around the right people, because I feel like if I would have stayed around the friend group that I was staying with, I wouldn't have been able to be where I'm at right now.
Which is the value in it too, because someone like you has the power to brainwash someone else to actually believe in themselves. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Like, if you've heard of, hanging around someone brainwashing you in the right way, thinking that, you need to be able to believe in yourself, know that you can make, even the biggest things that you dream of.
I think I've had that impact before.
Yeah. You've had it on me.
Well, that's good, bro.
I'm not trying to suck up to you.
I hope.
Yeah.
It's even on, so Jacob is like, I just talked to him recently. I think we're so crazy about what we want to do that it just rubs off. Like, I see Jacob posting, I'm like, I gotta post now. Yeah. Just because Jacob started posting a lot more, that there's no envy or greed or like jealousy. It's like he's getting after it, which makes me want to get after it even more.
Yeah, it inspires you in the right way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so powerful about having friend groups that way. It's people don't realize how powerful. I have a question about you. What are your thoughts on Andrew Tate?
I think there's a lot of things I respect about him. Like I don't listen to a whole lot of it, but I see like the highlights on Instagram. So, I mean, I know he's very controversial, but I just kind of maybe see the good, and I'm just like, hey, this guy's promoting, like, just get after it. You know what I mean? Which, so I don't know if I want to put like my brand on like, I mean, I think I've heard controversial things, but I don't know. When I see something hype on Instagram that gets me going, I'm like, that's all I need. I need someone to think like that.
I like him from I think as a not even as a man, as a person, you can respect someone but not agree with everything they say. Like I don't agree with like dating multiple women. Like there's a lot of things I don't agree with about him, but the things I do agree with him are like being around friends who are getting after it, because that in a sense will like empower you. Like if I was constantly around only my girlfriend and never around like my guy friends, like my girl, I love her, she's amazing, but like when I'm around my bros, like, and they just talking about like war, like, and getting after deals, like I'm just like I get pumped. So being around like the right group of friends will help you out so much. We're trying to achieve your dreams. Absolutely, and it goes the other way too. That's when it's like, if your friends are smoking pot, if your friends are drinking every night or whatever. So, you know, the influence in the positive way, which I think is very important too. What are your thoughts on New Year's resolutions? I mean, I'm not going to lie. I have things in my phone right now of like, okay, here's what I want to accomplish. And, you know, just like because the new year's coming up, I know a lot of times people don't stick with it. I probably haven't stuck with it too. I think this year I wanted to run like 10 miles. I just kind of made that up. And then I look back and I'm like, why the hell didn't I? What? No, that's why. What did you just say? Because did I have a date? No, like 10 miles a day? Oh, no. I thought you said, did you have a date? And I thought, no, that's probably where I went wrong, because I just kind of made it up last year. And I thought I just want to go run 10 miles because I haven't done that yet. So I run like every week, but just something random where it was like, why did I want to do that? I couldn't remember after January 1st. And then didn't make the steps to do it. So I'm like I saw where I failed. You think companies make so much money off New Year's resolutions? Oh, probably. Dude, so much, huh? We should start something. Start like a 10-day boot camp for... Oh, yeah. I mean, sign up for a gym membership now, probably get a good deal. I think... And then no one shows up. Half the people show up. So what's if you're comfortable sharing, like what's like not financial, what's like a New Year's resolution you have, like with outside of like business or anything? So the finances are a big part of it for sure. Physically, I mean, I've been saying like I want to get more lean. Yeah. And then it's just like, what does that even mean to me? Like if I lose a couple pounds, is that what I mean? So I have the weight in mind. So 205, I think that would be good for me. By when? I need to set that. Yeah, but by when? See, you're calling me out, dude. No, I love it though. I don't care. I'm very open about it. So I need to set that because I'm just setting these and like, I think I need to break them all down. I think like, you know what Murphy's Law is? Yes. Well, you mean like anything that can go bad will go bad, or is that it's not Murphy's Law? I don't know what law. There's a law out there. Like if you give yourself 10 months to do it, you'll take 10 months. It's like pile something. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I know what you mean. But if you give yourself 12 months to do it, you're gonna take 12 months. If you give yourself 1 month. Yeah. I'm not saying like obviously be realistic with how much you can do it, but like, what if you can do it in 5 months, in 6 months, or 1 month? Yeah. Oh, so the way I do my goals is, I know like people say I dream very big, but on the contrary is I want to have small wins. So I'll say, for example, one of my New Year's resolution is to read a book a month on leadership. So 12 months, I'll have 12 books on just leadership. I have that too, for sure. I mean, not 12, but I want to do at least 5, like, which maybe that's not even a good goal, but I just wanted to like hit that number. Yeah, it doesn't have to take the whole year. Wanted to do that, hit like 20 podcasts. I think it's just so important you just set like the small ones because you'll start proving to yourself that you can hit them. So that's why I was originally going to do a book a week, but I'm like, start smaller. Like if you have more time, then do it. But for sure, like 12 books in a year, and they're all leadership only. And that'll help me out a lot with everything I want to do. But sorry. No. I was trying to think because there's a name to that, but the work will expand to the time that you have
permitted for it. So like if I wanted to clean my house, I'm like, okay, oh, it'll take me 2 weeks. That's what it's going to take me. Or if I say it's going to take me a few days.
Whereas
like,
if you know you have company coming over this Thursday, what are you going to do?
Yeah, at that point you wait. If I would wait, and then it's like, oh, they're coming over in an hour, and like, I got to clean really quick.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
That's the perfect. So that's that. And then physically, I want to make an effort. I don't know which boxing gym I'll go to, but I want to get back into boxing. Or at least I want to be sparring once a week on Fridays.
That's one of your goals for the year?
Mm-hmm.
So that 100 deals, 100 houses you want to flip?
Mm-hmm. So the reason why behind the physical is if I can just get comfortable with like doing that, because getting in the ring is pretty scary.
I'm sure.
Really scary, especially when like you have other people who are like they know how to fight, and you're going in there. You just
ass. They'd kick my ass if I went.
No, dude, it's scary. Like you get it's scary. But if I can do that, making some phone calls, making harder calls won't be as hard. So that'll help me in a mental framework, and then the books is leadership, as being a better leader. That'll help me with my business, with my relationships, and then with on a spiritual side as well. And then the third thing, just the transactions. It's with the amount of volume I'll do, that'll definitely put me over at a million for sure.
That's insane.
I know.
I believe in you though. I'm confident for you.
Yeah, we'll
in
see.
knowing how you operate. I can't believe we've been going for an hour and 40 about. But
yeah. What do you want to do?
This has been so good. I mean, before wrapping up, I'm not in a rush, but anything else you want to put out there, like quotes or anything that keeps you going, or wherever you want to take it before we wrap up, to be honest.
Let's see. Trying to think where I take this.
Or you ask, or go with whatever, but you asked me what my biggest takeaway was from this year. So if you had anything that
biggest takeaway
you want to
this
share
year.
too, like something that changed in
letting go of the ropes was a big one. Number 2 was it sounds so simple, but like I'm always like I at any given time, you can always change the trajectory of where you want to take your life. I just don't want to wait till I'm tired anymore to do it. Like I don't want to wait till like I'm at my wit's end to do it. Like back in February, like I was forced to change. I was forced to start all over relationships with my business, and I was forced to do that. But I don't want to do that like ever again. Like I don't want to wait till something bad happens for me to have to change. So now like with like nothing's going wrong with my business social media wise. I just don't need to wait until something specifically happens. Why not do it now? And I just truly want to look in the mirror and be like, yeah, I'm proud of this guy. Like that's like a lot of the time like really drives me. It's like, did I do what I said what I was gonna do? Like, yeah, I'll be happy if my girlfriend's proud of me, my mom, like my grandma, my sisters were like, when I look in the mirror and I say like, am I proud of this guy? Like I really am, and I know that God is like truly proud. That is like a feeling I'm striving for so much. Yeah. Like that is like just looking in the mirror and like knowing God's like, that's my son. Like that he's getting after that. That is a feeling that'll, yeah, just that, and just being able to hear. So next year, I long to hear God's voice, just to really understand what He truly wants me to do. Because there's like a superpower I haven't fully tapped into yet with God, and if I can tap into that and I can have Him by my side and really be super mindful of His voice, I'll know where I'm going. And when the storms hit, when something happens, I'll be focused on Him. There's this movie called The Shack.
That's the Christian movie, right?
Have you seen it?
It's been a few years, but I think I have.
Well, the daughter gets murdered.
I believe.
So they're in the woods. She gets taken away. Yeah. Well, there's a scene. There's a scene in there where it's like he's on a canoe, and he's in the middle of I think a lake, and like the waves started like crashing and crashing and crashing and crashing, and he just focused on the waves. It's like you just focus on the storm, focus on the bad business, focus on the relationships, focus on this, and then Jesus is coming to him, and then Jesus is calling him like look at me, look at me, look at me, and it's like he keeps looking at the waves and everything that's happening, and it keeps getting darker and darker and darker, and as soon as he looks at Jesus, that's when everything just stops. The storm is still going on, you can see it, but like his mind stops going so crazy, and he looks at Jesus. And a lot of the times, the reason why I long to have that relationship so much is because I know that the devil has no place in my heart or my mind when I'm truly focused on God, because the devil has no power in the presence of God. So if I could just be that focused on God, the devil can't touch me at all. And that's like, if the devil can't touch me, bro, and I'm just God focused, then everything else will go right.
Unstoppable.
Dude, yeah. The devil can't touch me at all.
One of the things I like from, I think David Goggins talked about this, where he said his version of hell is if he was to get to heaven and he was overweight, he kept doing, I think he was doing pest control, he was spraying for bugs. And if he got to heaven and then God showed him a Navy SEAL, a motivational speaker, someone successful in business, and then he goes, God, I don't know who that is. He said, yeah, I know, that's who you were supposed to be.
Dude, that's...
And he said that's his version of hell, is if you were to live your life and you stay comfortable, you don't actually chase things that you know you should be doing. Maybe you do the things that people tell you should or what you're supposed to be doing.
Dude, I truly feel like I can be the Humberto Lopez of Tucson one day. Like dude, you have to like look him up like when you get the chance.
I did, because you told me and you said, how many units do you think he has? I said, I don't know, 500. You said, how many does
thousands?
he have?
Like thousands and 1000s of units, bro. Like
that was another time
the
where
impact
I didn't
he
think
has.
that's possible.
Like the impact this guy has. He started with flipping houses too, bro. Like that's like where like it gets me. Like he started with flipping houses, and now he has an empire. Like now,
I think he has a foundation after his name for the school too.
For U of A, where we're at right now.
Yep.
He received like an honor. He's Hispanic. He's from Nogales. Came from nothing. He went through some storms. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he felt like quitting a lot of the time. Now he has bigger problems, other problems to worry about, but wealth and leaving a legacy behind is not one of them. Now it's probably like, how can I make sure this wealth stays for longer than me?
Like you, brother, yeah.
Those are the problems I want to have for sure.
Like in the Lamborghini movie too, when he looked at the bull, I think, right, and with back to Jacob, that's kind of this thing too, like not stopping, you're gonna keep going in the face of the storm.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing is looking at last thing we'll leave up with this is the movie Mufasa is coming out this Friday. Mm-hmm. My favorite movie is Mufasa. The Lion King.
The original one, yeah.
Yeah, there's this portion of the Lion King where Simba is obviously like his dad already died, and what's the monkey's name?
Oh, I cannot remember.
Is it a monkey?
Probably come to me, maybe, for the sake of this.
Okay, anyways, the monkey and Simba are walking to the garden, another garden, the little river, and then it's like, your dad wants to talk to you, it says, and then it's like, well, go, let's go. And then he didn't say that, but that's what I'm saying. And then Simba goes to the lake, and then like, where's he at? And like there's like a shadow in him, and then like you know when you tap the water, like it kind of go like this, you see your reflection. Mm-hmm. Well, the reflection turns into Mufasa, and the monkey is like, he's here, he lives inside you. And then Mufasa comes like in like the clouds and stuff, and then I look at Mufasa in that movie God, and Simba as me, and Simba says, I don't know how to be king, and then he says, you are a king, like I live inside you. And he tells Mufasa tells Simba, it's like, no, so Simba tells Mufasa, don't leave me. Like, why'd you leave me? And Mufasa tells him, I've never left you, always been by your side. And the last part that like really like ties everything up, Mufasa kept telling Simba, like, remember who you are. Remember who you are. The king that lives inside you. And the way I see it is like, that's God telling me, like, remember who you are. Like you have, like, you're my children, like you're mine, and you serve a great king. So, yeah. I
could not end that any better. Thank you so much, man. I mean, unless there's something else, like we've almost been here for 2 hours, but it's gone by like quick.
No worries. Just you guys want to follow me on Instagram, Andres Quiroz.
Mm-hmm.
I have a YouTube channel right now. I'm gonna be pumping out content every single Monday about anything real estate related, like flipping houses, sales, day in their lives, and then just hopefully you guys follow me. Stay tuned.
That real estate guy, is that or on Instagram or somewhere else?
A real estate guy, yeah.
Yep, go
and
find him.
We'll do this podcast again a year from now.
Yes.
And we'll see where we're at.
On it, brother.
We're sure we're at.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you, bro. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Definitely go check him out. Go find Andres online and follow him. Thank you.
Before I got to the podcast, I was eating at Sheba Hut, and my buddy, he owns a barbershop right next to us, and I was like, "Hey, bro, can I use some of your gel?" This is a brand new gel I've never used.
Maybe.
Put it on, but it's itchy, bro. It's itchy, but sales, yeah.